All right, fam, we're back. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate your time. All right, so you see the title. So we are doing Second Esdras chapter 5. All right, this is what I want to get into now, but I'm really not sure exactly how I'm going to do this. All right, if I'm going to, how I'm going to break it up because this might end up being much too long doing it the regular way, so I might break this up into parts. All right, so again, flowing in the spirit, I'll decide as I go. And again, so Second Ezra chapter 5, and and then I plan on getting 6, 7, and 8 after this. Why did I not start from from chapter 1? I don't know. It's just in the spirit. You get what I'm saying? I just flow in the spirit, man. And I might end up coming back later in doing those chapters. So this isn't really like, planned out in that kind of way to just say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to go through all of Second Ezra's. This wasn't what I decided to do. Again, in the spirit, man, I was just reading, Second Ezra's, chapter 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 for myself. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and do a lesson on this. All right. So this is just another one of those occasions of turning my own personal study into a lesson. All right. And so this is how it's coming out. Okay. All right. So with that said, all praise, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, in the name of the beloved, our King Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Grace, peace, and blessings to the saints and to the friends of the family. Thanks for joining me. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. All right, Second Ezra, chapter 5, beginning in verse 1. And I'm going to do in this one what I should have been doing in the others, which is when I read, the verses, turn around and read it again, but in more plain language, because I understand that some people don't understand the old King's English, right? The way it's written in the King James or the way it's written when you go into the Apocrypha online or whatever. Um, yeah, they don't understand that way. So if the title of the series is called understanding dot 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 whatever the scriptures are, the first step to understanding is being able to understand the wording and what exactly is being said before you get the breakdown. So that's how we're going to do this. That's why I'm not sure how this is going to go, because this is going to be longer doing it the way I'm going to do it now. Okay. Because, again, through the spirit, man, I don't got to explain too much more except, this is just what the spirit led me to do. All right. So, nevertheless, as coming the tokens, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken in great number. And the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. Now, just a little bit of context, all right, of how we got here. Ezra is having a conversation with the angel Uriel. All right. And he's speaking, they're having a conversation about the end times, about the latter days. All right. So, nevertheless, as coming the tokens. All right. So, to reword it would go something like this. Even though the signs are coming, know this: the time is coming when a large number of people on earth will die. The truth will be hard to find, and no one will have real faith anymore. So tokens means, it's like signs of prophetic indicators. All right. Taken in great number, there's many people being killed or removed. The way of truth is, the way of righteousness, right? The true doctrine or understanding of righteousness. All right. We know that barren means empty or lacking or unable to produce. All right. And faith, trust, obedience, and belief in Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, and his word. So this is a prophetic warning, right? Ezra is being shown what the end times will look like. All right. So, the tokens, again, this refers to the prophetic markers that Yahweh gives to indicate that the time of judgment and transition is near. All right. If you go, let's see. Uh, let's see, Matthew 24. signs of Christ's return. And so I'm not about to read all of this. I just want you to see that this is this is a chapter talking about tokens of things to come, signs of things to come. All right, so you see that it doesn't just occur in the Apocrypha. You know, they might not use the term tokens, but tokens are spoken of. All right, so again, it's just signs of things to come, prophecies, right? Not, I mean, but not prophecies in general, but signs, the signs of things. Okay. So when it says they shall be taken in great number, you know, this is mass death, death on a massive scale. All right. It points to plagues, war, famines, right? The sword and other forms of judgment from Yahweh. We know he can use animals. All right. And so again, you know, all these forms of judgment from Yahweh, right? Not natural disasters or coincidence. All right. And so when it says the way of truth shall be hidden, this is what is happening now, right? This happened before and it's happening now because things are cyclical. They happen, you know, generation after generation. They happen in cycles. So the way of truth being hidden, again, it has happened before and it is happening now in the way of censorship, false doctrines, confusion, religious deception. All right, Christianity is trying hard to to put this fire out. This truth is on fire. It's a fire burning, and they're trying with all their might to put it out. They're drafting wicked sellout Israelites, whoever they can get to help them try to put this out. That's what they're doing because Satan can't have this truth going out. All right, because it destroys his lies, it destroys what he's built. All right, Christianity is the house that Satan built. All right, and so people no longer know the truth because the real truth is only being revealed to the elect. That's why these other people, that's why they don't know. They're in the dark and they're able to be used for satanic, you know, wicked purposes, you know, some knowingly, but many unwittingly. All right. And so you go to Isaiah 66, verse 16. It reads, for by fire and by his word will Yahweh plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many. All right. Mass death, death on a massive scale. Right. And so, and it says, the way of truth shall be hidden. This is what it's talking about. All right. So the land shall be barren of faith. All right. The land shall be barren of faith. You know what? Before I go too far, let me just touch a little bit more on, you know, the way of truth shall be hidden. Let's just get some precepts because I was going to breeze by that for the sake of time, man. But, you know, the Spirit is telling me stop trying to rush through it. If it's going to be long, it's going to be long. If you need to do it in parts, you do it in parts, but be thorough. Bring out the word. That's what I'm going to do. All right. So 2 Timothy 3, verse 7. All right. Talking about how people would be in the end times. All right. People who are teachers and people who are just learning, that in the end times that they will be ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth, meaning always studying. Ever learning means always studying, constantly studying, but never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. All right. Why? Because the way of truth is being hidden from those people. Right. Let's go to Amos 8, verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. All right, the famine of the word. I know you've heard this term before, this phrase. There's going to be a famine of the word. All right, that's the way of truth being hidden. All right, So the land shall be barren of faith because the majority of people won't believe or walk in righteousness. So the world will be full of fear, wickedness, and unbelief, especially among Israelites, to their shame, right? Luke 18, verse 8. I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Who? His elect. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? That's a rhetorical question. He knows the answer to that question. He doesn't need anybody else to answer this question for him. He's making a statement. He's making us aware that at the time of his coming, faith will be hard to find. The faithful will be in small number. The unbelieving will be in great number. So this is not just like a general condition of the world. All right. This is a forecast, right, of the spiritual famine that's going to strike just before judgment intensifies. So it's going to prove that the truth is not meant for everyone in these last days. All right. It's not meant for everyone. That's why everyone can't get it. So it makes perfect sense that these people would be raging against the truth, that they wouldn't be able to see the things that we could see, hear the things that we can hear, or understand the things that we can understand. Again, why did Yahweh speak in parables? Because it is given unto us, the chosen, right, to know these things, to know the secrets of the kingdom, to have the keys to the kingdom. But to them, it is not given, contrary to their belief that he loves the whole world, that he gave his only begotten son. If that was the case, if Yahweh came and he lived and he died for everyone, why did he speak in parables? Why did he not want everybody to understand the way of righteousness? Why did he not want everybody to understand the truth? Why did he not want everybody to have the keys to salvation if it was for everybody? Right? All right, so let's get some more precepts on this. Let's get Matthew 24, verse 12. Many false, well, first, let's start at verse 11. And many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. All right. So again, end time, right? This is what it's going to be like in the last days. And this is what, Second Esdras chapter 5 is about, and how verse uh how verse 1 is kicking it off. All right. I mean, when I say kicking it off, I mean the chapter, because even before chapter 5, it's already talking about the end. All right. Again, don't ask me why I didn't start from chapter 1. All right. Again, I just might go back if the Spirit moves me to do so. All right. So um let's get let's go back to Second Timothy chapter 3 for a second. Let's start at verse 1. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. All right, real quick, because not everyone knows the definition of the word perilous. I'm not here to judge, I'm here to edify. Perilous, hard to do, hard to bear, troublesome, dangerous, harsh, fierce, savage. All right, these are the times that lie ahead. This is the reason why lessons like I did recently, to wake up sisters and get them to depart from evil, why they are necessary. You might not like those lessons. You may not like hearing what I said, but they are necessary, not just for your edification, but for your salvation. In order for you to be saved in these times that we're now talking about right now, you need to understand and reconcile the truth of what I spoke about in those other lessons. Repent. Use that information to your advantage. All right. See them as spiritual life preservers. All right. There's about to be great storms and tempests coming, great tsunami of, of, of tribulation. And if you're not properly prepared, you're going to drown. And so, if if in that time when that's happening and men are just running around saving themselves, the women are going to be in trouble. All right. Because you have nobody that cares about you to try to save you. You didn't develop any relationships with anyone who so that they would care about you. So when time of trouble came, that someone would give a damn about you and try to save you. You would just be left to your own struggle, right? To your own peril. All right. And so it's an act of love to try to save you, to pull you from the fire. And it's not going to be comfortable. All right. Not going to be comfortable. All right. In the same way that if you were in a house fire, right? You were in a house and it was burning up, you're going to die in that house. Would you want somebody to come and try to gently, you know, coax you out and use soft words and to help get you out of there? Or would you want somebody to come and yell, right? Yell, get your attention, like let their tone make you aware of the urgency of your circumstances. Would you want them to come and whisper and try to gently nudge you a little bit? Or would you want them to come and yell and then go from yelling to grabbing you and snatching you up forcefully to get you out of the house? Even if they had to rough you up a little bit and manhandle you to get you out of the house, would you be happy that they chose to manhandle you to get you out of the house? Or would you rather they had just let you burn inside of the house because the only way to get you out was to manhandle you? What would you choose? Be manhandled and be safe, or to just be left alone because you couldn't be saved without being manhandled? All right. I'm gonna leave that for you to think about because I know there are many who see love as hate because they're convinced that love is speaking softly and it's never getting angry. It's never, chastising or correcting. But that's not true. And we know that according to the scriptures. All right. For men shall be lovers of their own selves. Right. We are in the selfish generation, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. All right. Incontinent. All right. Meaning without self control, lacking self control. Traitors, heady, high minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of the Most High, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such, turn away. All right. See, there has to be a constant reminder of what the end is going to look like. The Most High constantly tells us what the end is going to look like for a reason. All right. And then you get his people who won't listen, right? Because they don't like the way it sounds, right? They don't like what's being said. And there's nothing new under the sun. This has always been an issue with Israel. All right. Hating the prophets, hating the truth, not wanting to be told the truth. All right. Wanting to be told smooth lies. All right. But we got to tell the truth in order to save our people. All right. So Second Ezra chapter 6. Yes, we're gonna take a quick leap to the future because there's a verse here I want to get. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. All right. Suddenly shall the sown places be appear unsown. All right. Now this is talking about land and people. Many people who are being sown right now. All right. They are land because remember, people like land, right? People who are being taught There's going to be a time that's going to come when they're going to appear unsown. So they're going to be living in a way that makes it seem like they had never been taught the truth, as if they're going to live as if they had never heard the truth. Right? That's what's going to happen. All of a sudden, it's going to be like they have never been taught anything. They never heard any truth. They never learned anything before. That's what it's going to be like for those individuals. Again, to their own peril, right? All right, so let's get Second Ezra chapter 5, verse 2. But iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. So it says sin will become far worse than anything you see right now, or anything you've ever heard about in history. All right. All right. We know iniquity is gross sin, moral wickedness, lawlessness. All right. Especially disobedience to the laws of Yahweh. All right. Increased above means it will grow far worse or more extreme. All right. For obviously, thou seest means what you're witnessing right now. And heard long ago is a reference to the writings, because our people have always passed on writings and history, be it written or oral. All right. So, stories like Sodom, Gomorrah, right? Egypt, right? The flood and such, right? And so it's going to be, way worse than anything that we've previously read about, previously heard about. This was true for Ezra in his time and true for us as well. Okay. So this verse, it speaks to, the unprecedented evil. All right. The unprecedented level of evil, I should say, that's going to dominate the world in the last days, right? Which is going to be far beyond the sins of past generations. All right. So, and again, we're not talking about just like bad people, right? We're talking about worldwide elevation of rebellion. Look at the world, right? Moral collapse and open defiance against Yahweh. So Ezra is being told that the evil in the end times will exceed even the most wicked times known to history, right? Worse than the generation of Noah, worse than Sodom and Gomorrah, worse than the abominations of ancient Canaan or Rome. All right. So Yahushua said the end times would be like the days of Noah and Lot, right? Which means full of violence, pride, sexual corruption, and spiritual blindness. All right. So we live in a time where sin is called good, truth is called hate speech. People celebrate rebellion against their creator. All right. Children are taught confusion, and wickedness is legalized and sanctified. Right? So this verse sets the tone for the judgment to come, because the Most High, he will not let this rebellion go unpunished, contrary to what anybody hopes for or believes. All right. All right. Evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, right? Deceiving and being deceived, right? 2 Timothy chapter 3, right? Verse 13. All right. But Isaiah 5:20, it says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. All right. That put darkness for light and light for darkness, right? They call light darkness. They don't like the truth of the Most High being spoken. They don't like, the way of the Most High being spoken. They don't like, having darkness being called out for darkness, evil being called out for evil, right? They make what's good to be evil and what's evil to be good. That's exactly what you would expect in a world where Satan is the god of it. All right. They put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. All right. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. All right. So remembering, what he was just talking about, also, let's get Ecclesiastes 1. Verse 9, the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. All right. So again, no new thing. So a new thing isn't about to happen. It's just going to be magnified, right? And worldwide, uh it's gonna reach outside of the borders of his people. All right. So this verse, it warns um not to compare the coming wickedness to anything that we've seen before, because it's going to surpass all previous generations, right? Which is why the judgment must be just as great, if not more extreme, right? Verse 3 says, and the land that thou seest now to have root, shalt thou see wasted suddenly. So the land that you see now as stable, right? It's grounded and flourishing, will suddenly be laid waste and ruined. All right. And so, this is dualfold, right? The land, all right, it refers to the earth generally, but specifically, uh, it includes Israel and the nations, right, seen as rooted or well established. So to have root is symbolic of strength, stability, growth, prosperity, like a tree that's deeply rooted, right? And so wasted suddenly is destroyed, ruined, or made desolate in a short amount of time unexpectedly. All right. So this verse is another prophetic warning that what seems stable in the world today, like governments, economies, uh, nations, empires, and even the land itself, right? It's not going to last. And the judgment of Yahweh is going to be swift and devastating. And so a tree with deep roots seems unmovable. And notice I said seems unmovable or immovable. But even those trees can be uprooted in a storm. A hurricane can come through and uproot a tree. You see what I'm saying? So if that's possible, what's impossible for the Most High to accomplish? All right. So, this is telling us that even the strongest kingdoms and empires are going to fall suddenly. So don't put your trust in Egypt. Don't put your trust in Babylon. Now is the time to turn from your wicked ways, to turn to our Father, to turn to Yahweh Shai, our King. All right. So, just think about it, right? Empires like Babylon, Rome, and Egypt at the time, they looked permanent. No one could see them falling at the time. In the same way, right now, right, this current empires, they seem permanent. They don't seem right. Well, to those of us that know, we can fully see that these things appear that they're gonna end soon. But for the lay person, you know, they can't look at what's going on and say, hey, you know what? It looks like this kingdom is about to fall. The current way of things is going to be over. Many people don't even consider this. All right. So, nations like, America, United States of America, China, uh, the European Union, meaning all of those nations included. All right. They appear to most people that they're just going to continue as they've always been. All right. But, the prophecy tells us don't be fooled by appearances, that destruction is going to come quickly. All right. And so this applies spiritually also, right? Churches, false religious systems, so-called truth movements, right, that appear established will be brought low. So those who appear to be flourishing without Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai, are going to be cut down suddenly. All right. So this is also a comfort for the righteous. All right. This world is passing away and our kingdom is being prepared. Right. So let's get some precepts. Let's get First Thessalonians 5, verse 3. For when They shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. All right, this is what we know is coming. All right, though many want to put their heads in the sand, it's still going to come. Right, being unbelieving isn't going to make the prophecies not come true. Isaiah 47, verse 11. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth. You ain't gonna know, from where it came from. And mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off. You're not going to be able to avoid the calamities and the trouble. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly. All right. You're not going to see it coming. All right. Shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. All right. It's going to catch you off guard. Again, not us. We're being told. We're told the things to look for. We're given the heads up. And those of us who abide in the secret place of the Most High shall, those of us who dwell in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So we're going to be good. The rest of the world is going to be troubled. Those who find themselves outside of his covering. The Father covers using Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai covers using his men. You can't get around his men to safety. I don't care what you believe, what you feel, what you desire in your heart. You can't do it. That's not how he set it up. The Father wants Yahweh Shai to be beloved, so he made Yahweh Shai our Savior. We can't get around him to the Father. All right? Yahweh Shai and our Father wants us, the men, is men to be beloved. So you can't go around us. He made it so that people are going to need us, right? So they're going to have some sort of appreciation and respect unto us because they're going to need us. See, people don't love or appreciate or respect anything or anyone that they don't need, right? And we see that with the we earn our own money and we don't need no men for ish generation. That movement, that satanic doctrine, mindset, and mantra, right? Oh, we earn our own money, so we don't gotta listen to you. We don't gotta respect you. Don't gotta appreciate you, right? This is what the Father is getting around, right? He knows people. Remember, he's the creator. He knows people. He knows that they gotta have the conditions, that would force them to appreciate. See, that's what he did with Israel. That's what the law of Moses was. That was the Father creating the conditions for us to appreciate Yahweh Shai, for us to love him, for us to respect him. Being under the bondage of the law of Moses, under the law of sin and death, was supposed to cause us to love his son. In the same way, the Father is and Yahweh Shai are gonna cause great catastrophes and calamities, and the state of this world is gonna be so jacked up that people are gonna know that the only salvation is gonna be in his people. Women are gonna know the only salvation is gonna be in the men of the Lord. You can't get around it. There's gonna be no other way to be safe. All right. We have to know these things because if you don't know how salvation happens, you won't do the things that you need to do in order to receive it. All right. Let's get Jeremiah 12, verse 14. Thus saith Yahweh against all mine evil neighbors that touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I will pluck them out of their land and pluck out the house of Judah from among them. And it shall come to pass after that I have plucked them out, I will return and have compassion on them and will bring them again, every man to his heritage and every man to his land. And it shall come to pass if they will diligently learn the ways of my people. You see, they can't go around his people. All right. Christians, they believe they can go around it. They can just go straight to Yahweh Shai. Can't do it. And it shall come to pass, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people to swear by my name, Yahweh liveth, as they taught my people to swear by Baal, then shall they be built in the midst of my people. You see? But if they will not obey, I will utterly pluck up and destroy that nation, saith Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right? Salvation comes through us for the other nations. Salvation goes through Yahweh Shai for us. All right? And even among our nation, all right, you have the elect, 144,000, who even the remnant of Israel have to go through to get to Yahweh Shai, because that's the bride. All right? You gotta come through the bride to get to him. Right? Let's get Revelation 18, verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues, Babylon, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, the mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So the systems of this world are rooted in wickedness, and their destruction is going to be swift. The elect must not be attached to the prosperity or security of the present age, because it's fool's gold. It's a mirage. All right. Our hope is in the kingdom to come, in Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. All right. Keep this in mind. Remember this always. All right. There is no other way that this is going to happen except the way the prophecies say it's going to happen. All right. So let's see. Second Ezra, what are we in? Okay, verse 4. But if the Most High grant thee to live, thou shalt see after the third trumpet that the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day. All right, after the third trumpet, right? We can go into the book of Revelations, right? And we can read all about the seven trumpets of Revelation. All right, this is what this is a reference to. All right, so to translate, it says, if the Most High allows you to live long enough, Esdras, you will witness strange signs. And this applies for us. If we are able to live long enough, we'll get to witness strange signs. And after the third trumpet, the sun will suddenly shine at night, and the moon will be seen 3 times during the day. So if the Most High grant thee to live, right, your life and ability to witness this, right? This event that he's talking about, right? It's subject to Yahweh's will. All right. Not anything of our own. And so the third trumpet, it's a prophetic event marker. All right. Um, that the trumpet symbolizes warning, judgment, right? Or a new phase in prophecy, right? Just like in Revelation, like I alluded to. So the sun shall shine again in the night. So, again, first mind, it says, it sounds like a supernatural event, right? And, perhaps literal or symbolic as well. All right. Two things can be true at the same time. All right. Symbolic of unnatural reversals. All right. So the moon shining thrice in a day. All right. Um, all right. So seeing the moon 3 times during daytime hours, all right, is a sign of confusion in nature or divine interruption of normal order. All right. There's going to be a divine interruption of normal order. All right. So again, two things can be true at one time. So we got to think. All right. Is it either or both of these things? And what I mean by that is, does this speak to cosmic disturbances, right? Unmistakable signs in the heavens that are going to shock mankind and that are going to serve as clear markers that the time of judgment is near? Yes, that can very well be the case, right? That these signs are are not poetic. All right, they're part of a divine pattern that Yahweh uses before executing judgment. People who have long studied, the stars and constellations and everything else, and they have noticed that, when major events have happened in the earth, that there were certain signs in the sky, signs in the stars that preceded those things. All right. So we got to remember that in Egypt, right before the Exodus, there were signs in the heavens. In Yahushua's time, there were signs in the skies during his crucifixion. In the last days, the sun, the moon, and the stars will signal Yahweh's wrath and Yahushua's return. All right. So remember, I said it can be, layered, right? So literal, right? Signs in the sky, solar flares, eclipses, right? Blood moons, anomalies, right? Things that are visible to everyone. All right. Then it could be symbolic, right? The sun shining at night may represent hidden truth being revealed in the darkness, or Yahweh Shai illuminating, you know, those in spiritual night, meaning those who are in darkness. All right, it's going to be a time when the people who are still in the darkness are going to be given an opportunity to come into the light. He's going to shine the light unto them because before the light was hidden from them. And then in this time, they're going to be able to see the light. The light is going to shine unto them in darkness. All right. And he's going to give them a few opportunities to be exposed to this light before whatever is to happen next. All right. And so the moon thrice in the day, again, it may hint at confusion, distortion of time, or the breaking of natural cycles as a sign of judgment. All right. This also underscores that you won't see these signs unless Yahweh allows it. That's also the thing. All right. So the Most High controls who lives long enough to witness prophecy unfold. All right. And he controls who receives wisdom. See, that's also again, when he allows the moon to shine thrice in the day, when he allows the sun to shine in the darkness, that's him. It's all under his control. This is what we got to remember. All right. All of these natural things are all under his control. All of these spiritual things are under his control. All right. So this all lines up with what we read, right? All throughout the scriptures, like in Luke 21, right? Verse 25, right? The return of Yahweh Shai. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. All right, the powers of heaven, meaning the rulers of this earth right now, they're going to be shaken. You see? So again, when we know that this is what's coming, we know that we have to prepare and we know how to prepare. And the righteous, those who want to be saved, you should want to be saved by any means necessary. However, it has to happen. If somebody has to yank you out of the fire or yank you up out of that water onto the boat to safety, you should say thank you that they've done so. All right. Instead of hating the people that saved you, right? I heard a story, about a woman who she was dying and a man saved her. And then she sued the man that saved her, talking about how she didn't consent to being touched. Wow. That's just illustrates, where we are. And so I'm saying the hatred of men is so strong that okay, yeah, I know you saved my life, but you touched me though, and you're a man. And now I'm upset that you touched me. So what that you saved my life? No, I'm not going to say thank you to you. I didn't ask you to save me. Now I'm going to sue you because you touched me and I didn't consent to you touching me. You see, this is the wickedness of this world has really messed people up. And yes, women especially. Stop getting upset at me saying this. You know that you're the weaker vessel. All right. You will admit that it's different when you hit a man from when a man hits you, but you don't want it to be spoken of that how you're the weaker vessel. But you want to be the weaker vessel when you want to hit a man and get away with it. But you don't want us to say that you're the weaker vessel because you want to feel like you're strong in your mind until you want to be a victim. If this is not you that I'm speaking to or about, don't feel convicted by it. All right. Only a hit dog is going to holler. This shouldn't bother you if I'm not talking about you. All right. But you know that there is a woman who this commentary applies to. This is for her. This is for them. All right. Let it roll off your shoulders if you know this is not for you. All right. So let's go to Joel chapter 2, verse 30. The day of the Lord. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood before the great and the terrible day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of Yahweh shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, meaning among his people, right? Letting you know that when it says whosoever shall call on the name of Yahweh shall be delivered, it's talking about whosoever among Israel, whosoever among the Israelites, showing you that there is a difference within Israel. Not all of Israel are the same. All right, you have the spiritual Israelites and you have the carnal Israelites. All right. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as Yahweh said, as Yahweh hath said, and in the remnant whom the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai shall call the remnant of Israel. All right. So you get Isaiah 13. Look, I just wanted to show you all of these witnesses in the scriptures of these things to come, because there are some people who say, well, that's the Apocrypha. That's not even canon. Right? So Isaiah 13 and 10, because they let Satan and Satan's minions decide what's scripture and what isn't. All right, so Isaiah 13 and 10, for the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. All right. And then we go to Revelation 8. All right. The trumpets, right? Verse 12 says, and the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. Again, all of these witnesses, right, of the same event. All right, let's go to Job. And there are so many witnesses about this. Why are there so many witnesses? Not just two or three. Why are there so many? Because it's very important. The more something is repeated, the more important it is. All right. So Job 9, verse 7. All right. And concerning the Most High, right, which commanded the sun, and it riseth not, and sealeth up the stars. All right. He is able to do this. So these things that we're hearing of, don't think that these things are strange things that aren't possible. They just sound far-fetched, sound like science fiction. The highest, he's responsible for all these things. All right. He is the one who make it, who shaketh the earth out of her place and the pillars thereof to tremble. He removeth the mountains and they know not. all right, which overturneth them in his anger. He's able to do all these things and he's going to do them. He has given us the warning. The one who is going to do all of these things is the one warning us of all these things. He's given us a heads up. Now, if you don't take it, if you reject the knowledge, he's going to reject you and you're going to be a victim of all of these things that are going to come. You're not going to be covered in that day because he knows you. He knows everyone who has rejected knowledge, who has rejected wisdom. All right. And if and in regards to him, he appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down. Thou makest darkness, and it is night, wherein all beasts of the forest do creep forth. Remember beasts, people as beasts too, right? Right? They creep around in the darkness, right? They rely on darkness to creep around. They rely on ignorance. They lack of knowledge and wisdom being in the earth in order to move about freely. You see? And so that's why the time is going to come. Again, right now they have their time, but then the time is going to come when the sun is going to shine in the night and the moon is going to, shine thrice in a day. So Yahweh has full authority, all right, over time, over nature and creation. So when he breaks natural cycles, it's to warn the elect and to shake the wicked. That's the purpose. So these signs are not coincidence, right? They are judgment alarms. Okay? Let's go to verse 5. And blood shall drop out of wood, and the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled. So blood will drip from trees, and stones will speak. These events will disturb the people. Someone will rise up and take power. Someone the world never expected to rule. All right? So blood shall drip out of wood. So it's either literal, as a literal supernatural sign, or symbolic of judgment, violence, or mourning, right? Wood meaning like trees, right? And people as trees. Remember that. Remember all the symbolism of the scriptures, right? So the stone shall give his voice, right? Stones speaking could be metaphorical for undeniable truth, right? Coming from unlikely places. All right. It also may imply miraculous or symbolic signs from creation itself. Remember, we are likened unto lively stones, right? So this could be about us prophesying. All right. So people shall be troubled. So the masses, the majority of people are going to be disturbed. They're going to be afraid and they're going to be confused because they're not going to understand what's happening. You see, we have the heads up. We dwell in the secret place of the Most High. We are constantly in His scriptures. So we see these things. We are aware of what's to come. They're not. These things are going to greatly trouble them. All right. It says, um, and the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled. Right? The people shall be troubled. All right. This is not something that anyone can get away from. All right. So again, this verse, it contains highly symbolic prophetic language, right? And so again, um, just to summarize it again, because repetition is key, right? So um, it could be a literal supernatural sign, right? Trees bleeding could symbolize environmental destruction, all right, divine wonders or actual phenomena, right, that's allowed by Yahweh. Because when we see these things, it's supposed to make us aware that He is. Because what else is responsible for such things, right? That's what that's what the wise should consider when they see those things, right? It could be symbolic of judgment, right? Because trees often symbolize people or nations. So blood from wood may represent violence or death among men, right? Especially Israelites, because you know, let let judgment begin at his house. All right. And judgment is going to be especially bad for his own people because we're the ones who have his law, right? We were the ones given his law, the ones who he had a relationship has a relationship with. All right. So there is a different standard for us, different level of accountability, and a different level of punishment as well. All right. So then there's the crucifixion connection, right? Yahweh Shai was crucified on a wooden stake, some believe. All right. And, it also can be understood that, he was hung from a tree. All right. He was hung from a tree. So blood from wood could point to, remembrance of his sacrifice, which the world would be judged for, you know, because again, remember, there's many that took part in that situation, and they have all been brought back to receive their judgment, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly are all here again. Okay. So, again, the stone giving his voice. All right. Again, that could be layered meanings, right? Um, let's go to Luke 19 and 40. It says, and he answered and said unto them, I tell you that if these should hold their peace, his disciples, the stones would immediately cry out. All right, the stones would immediately cry out. So Yahweh Shai said this to show that truth cannot be silenced, even if men try. That's why we don't need to, worry ourselves about, what these people are doing if they're going to try to persecute us for the word, if they're going to try to shut down the internet, shut down YouTube or anything else. It doesn't matter because they can only do what Yahweh allows them to do. And if they shut it down, that means he was ready for it to be shut down. He's ready to bring about the famine of the word. You just take it as a token, a sign, right, of things to come, having been warned aforetime before those things happen. All right. And so again, about the stones, let's go get Daniel chapter 2. We want to get verse 34. We want to start at verse 34. All right, it's talking about the statue, right? His legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and break them in pieces. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands. You see, that's the elect. We are the stones being cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, because we are going to be the Most High's battle axes and weapons of war. He's going to use us to break in pieces the nations, right? We are likened unto stones. So a stone shall give his voice. It's not crazy when you understand that a stone, the stone here is probably symbolic. It represents the elect. Okay. So let's get Revelation 6, verse 16. And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. Now, what is the point that I'm getting? These wicked people are he said they're gonna say to the mountains and the rocks. Now, do we think that this is talking about literal mountains and literal rocks? Are people going to talk to literal mountains and rocks? No, it said to the mountains and the rocks. This is talking about the elect. Fall on us. All right. Now, fall on us could be them asking for protection, asking us to cover them, or it could be them asking us to kill them because they rather uh, deal with us than than deal with Yahweh Shai, right? Hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. All right. So again, I just wanted to point that out about stones and things of that nature, a rock, stone, um, the symbolism of it. All right. So the stone given voice again may represent prophecy being fulfilled, um, or prophecy going forth, right, from the elect, right, from those considered insignificant, rising to proclaim truth. That's us, right? We're insignificant. We're rising to proclaim truth. We are stones given our voices. So, as well as Yahweh Shai returning in power, right? All rolled into one because we are one with him. All right, it says, and the people shall be troubled. So the world will be terrified and destabilized, by these signs, right? Just like during Exodus, right, or the plagues of Egypt, right? People trust in normalcy. This is what people have a tendency to do. They find comfort in it. So when Yahweh disrupts nature and power structures, right, fear is going to overwhelm the people. All right, it's going to overwhelm the people. That's what's going to happen. All right, so again, you can't really get around, you know, this truth. All right. And so when you see in verse 6, it says, and even he shall rule, whom they look not for that dwell upon the earth, and the fowls shall take their flight away together. Right in verse 6. And even he shall rule, whom they look not for. All right. And so, this line is kind of loaded, right? So, possibility number one is Yahweh Shai, right? So, the world rejects the idea of a black Messiah. All right. See the air quotes when I say black, right? And so, a meek lamb turned conquering lion, right? A righteous king returning, coming, cracking the sky. That sounds like madness in science fiction to a lot of people. They don't believe in it. And then, even those who do believe in it, because who are Christians, they don't believe that he's going to be a quote unquote Negro, a black man. All right. So when he does come, he shall rule, whom they look not for, that dwell upon the earth. All these people dwell upon the earth. They're not looking for, a black God, a black Messiah, Yahweh Shai to come being a black man. They're not looking for that because that's not what they've been told. That's not what they've been shown. You see? So, they're not looking for the real Yahweh Shai to rule. They're looking for Jebus, right? So they expect either false messiahs, right? Alien invasions, because we've been getting that programming, right? That predictive programming. And right. And so, they expect, human government, right, to prevail. See, all of these things except what's coming. All right. So possibility two, right? Wicked rulership temporarily, right? This could point to a short season of some wicked ruler rising up, right? Who who did so unexpectedly. All right. Some people will say, well, maybe that's Donald Trump because, he wasn't from the bloodline and, he didn't seem like, somebody who was cut from the same cloth as the other presidents. And so he seemed like an unlikely candidate and so forth, but I would say no, although possible. I mean, I'm not even going to say no because it's possible. I'm not going to say no because I don't know 100% for a fact at exactly who and what is talking about. So we just know that there are possibilities. And so these are the possibilities to consider. All right. So, The fact that this could reflect a temporary rise of someone unexpected has to be considered, right? Like the man of sin, right? Right? A dictator or a global figure that no one foresaw, right? But the elect won't be surprised. The world will, though. So the main point is that the reign of Yahweh Shai is not anticipated by the world. And when it begins, they're going to be caught off guard, confused, and they're going to be fearful because he doesn't fit their expectations, right? If possibility number one is in fact the case, right? So the Most High is going to shake creation and he's going to elevate the unexpected and he's going to humble the proud, right? The elect are not going to be surprised along with the rest of the world because we were warned in the scriptures, but the world is going to tremble, all right? And it says, and even he shall rule whom they look not for that dwell upon the earth, and the fowls shall take their flight away together. All right. And so again, this could be the actual fowls, or this could be a reference to people as birds. All right. And just a reference to people taking flight and running, fleeing in fear. All right. So this could be that. This could be that. All right. So, because it can be that, we got to consider, whether or not that's the case or not. All right. And so I'm looking at the time and this is a good place to start, right? It's been about an hour. So, I'll keep it about, to around this time. So, we'll be back, Yahweh willing, for part two. So look for it. All right. Look for it. If there is a part two, it's going to be coming tomorrow. All right. And so Yahweh willing, you guys were all edified. And till the next time, I want to say grace, peace, and blessings to the elect. All praise, honor, and glory belongs to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, in the name of the beloved, our King, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. I'll see you guys on the next one, Yahweh willing. Each one, reach one. Shalom.